Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's our 50th podcast episode.
Yay!
And it's Thanksgiving Day. If you're tuning in real time, happy Thanksgiving. This is Matthew Lilly here with my wife.
Shepherd Lily.
And we're hosting together. This is our first time hosting a podcast together. So this is fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're going to just celebrate 2 years almost of the podcast, share some testimonies, reflect on some amazing episodes, and give some stuff away for free.
Woo-hoo.
So we're going to go ahead and do it. We've got a book from Nico Peel, who's been on our podcast. He was on episode 17 and 18 talking about revival on college campuses. Nico's been doing campus ministry for years. Yeah. We love Nico.
We met him when he was in high school.
We did meet him in high school. That's right. So this book is Make Us One, a 31-day prayer journey toward racial healing. We should probably have him back on to talk about this topic. Yeah. Very important topic for right now. And so we want to give away his book. So congratulations, Tiffany Walker.
Woohoo!
You get the Make Us One book
and you get a cup of coffee to read it with.
And a Starbucks gift card. We're giving away $50 of coffee today.
What is that, $10 for each person? So you could get a few cups of coffee to read the book with that.
So, Tiffany, email us. Respond to one of the emails about the podcast, or just send me an email, matthew@presencepioneers.org, and we can get your address and we'll send it off to you. And congratulations.
If you don't have Nico's book and you didn't win it, you should go buy it anyway. Yes. He's about to have a baby.
That's true. So,
some book sales will probably help his little life out.
Yes. We love Nico and Carol Ann.
We do.
They're amazing. So, look, real quick, before we keep going, if you're new to the Presence Pioneers podcast and this is your first episode, welcome. This is not how most episodes are like. Normally, we either have short little Bible teachings or interviews and conversations with leaders in the worship and prayer movement. But our podcast is all about equipping you to host and experience the presence of God in your community. Through day and night worship and prayer, we believe God's presence changes everything. And so we would love for you to hit subscribe however you're tuning in and stay in touch with us. And you can also visit our website at presencepioneers.org and learn more. You can visit all of our previous episodes, and we're going to talk about some of those today.
For sure.
Because we've had a lot of them, 50 of them, which is amazing.
This is the 50th.
This is the 50th.
We've had 49.
We've had 49 before this, that's right. So it's Thanksgiving today. So we want to just give thanks for a minute.
For sure.
So thank you, Jesus, for letting us do this podcast. This podcast is for his glory, for sure. Yeah. Thank you, wife. You've been helping with the podcast. What do you do on the podcast?
I listen to all of the episodes and type up the description or the blog that you see either on the WordPress site or in the YouTube video description, if anybody reads those. I pull out quotes and things to put on little graphics, and I feel like that's all I do.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I was doing it all myself when we started January 2019. When I started January 2019, was doing it all myself. You're helping with a lot of things. Also, shout out to Johan, who's helping us edit audio. He's been a huge gift and a huge blessing to the team. He's making us sound great. Mm-hmm. Getting rid of all the weird background noises and technical glitches and the weird sounding audio from Zoom. He makes it sound as good as you can get it.
And if you've listened to a lot of podcasts,
some of them are bad.
This does sound really good by comparison. Like
ours sounds pretty good.
He does a good job. And he's been on the podcast before.
Yes, he has. And so we'll link to his episode as well. I don't have the number right offhand, but we'll link to his episode as well, so that you guys can learn about that. He talked about being an intercessory missionary, a prayer missionary, what it's like to serve full-time in a house of prayer, to give a life of worship and prayer as his job. Yeah. That was a really good episode. So thanks to everybody that's been on the podcast as a guest. We've had some amazing people, like the people that have written these books that we're going to give away, but not yet. Thank you to all of our listeners and watchers who tune in. We love you guys and are thankful for you and really hoping to help you more and more as we move forward. Thanks to the Presence Pioneers donors and partners. Your financial support is the only reason we can do the podcast.
It's not making any money.
No, it's not.
It's a ministry.
It's a ministry at this point. So we're going to talk more about that at the end as well. So just thought we could reflect for a minute on the podcast. Started, like I said, January 2019. I was going to do a once a month teaching, and that's how it started initially. Now we're up to every week.
Yeah.
Up to 50 episodes. I could show you the graph, but some of you are just listening, of the downloads have increased massively over the last 2 years. Our audience has grown. It's still not huge, but it's more than it was, reaching hundreds of people.
It's not just our moms.
Exactly. And a couple of friends. So any episodes stick out to you? What's your favorite?
Well, it feels mean to pick a favorite.
Sure.
Because everybody just does such a good job.
Hopefully you'll pick one of my teachings.
Well, I would say then that it's tied so that I can pick one of your teachings, because I told you it would be mean to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
And I would say probably my favorite would be Kirk Bennett.
Yeah.
But that, I mean,
so good,
because I loved Kirk Bennett before he was on. You know, a lot of the episodes have been introductions for me to these people that I've never met or heard of before. And Kirk Bennett was one that I already knew and already thought everything he said was gold. And then, of course, his whole episode was just nonstop gold the whole time. So that was great.
I was tearing up as we were having the Zoom call recording it, just because of, you could just feel the heart of God in it.
Yeah. And
the revelation that was coming from Kirk, his years of being with Jesus. And I think that was our longest episode ever.
For sure, yeah.
So
yeah,
that was a great one. And I think some of the guys we are giving away books for today were some of my favorites for sure. I really liked the episode also with Jose Diaz, because it was about the Melchizedek priesthood and who talks about the Melchizedek priesthood. Right. The Presence Pioneers podcast does. Right. And so it was fun to, riff about the Tabernacle of David, which is one of my favorite topics. So, we also did a great one with David Fritch on that, and I did a teaching on that. So any of them that talk about Tabernacle of David, those are probably my favorites.
I also liked the one that you did recently. Adam was a worship leader, not a gardener.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one for one of the...
It's such a cool revelation.
Yeah. You've been circling that revelation for a while, so it was good to have it put into teaching. Yeah,
I think I commented in a couple interviews about it, but I never really got into it.
Yeah.
So, what was your least favorite episode? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm not doing that.
You don't have to choose the least favorite episode. They're all amazing,
They really are. Yeah.
So, if you haven't watched them, listen to them all. Now's a great time to...
I would tell the truth. I'd be mean. I'm your wife.
Binge on them over some holiday breaks.
Yeah.
This year would be a good idea, in my opinion. All right. Want to give away another book?
Okay.
Any other thoughts on the podcast episodes over the last 2 years? Any reflections before we give one away?
I just think that if you took a step back and just read through like a list of the people that you've had on the podcast, it's just incredible. It's just a really cool group of people to have all in one place compiled like this with the interviews. So binging would not be a bad idea, because it would be like going to a conference, on your phone, like an incredible conference with some of the best teachers and writers and speakers and worship leaders in the world.
And it's all free.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just like this book.
There we go. Enthroned by David Fritch. What an awesome book.
Yeah.
Gotta love David Fritch. He is our only podcast guest who has been on twice. Yeah. So we need to have some people back on, because
the other people that look like they've been on twice were 2-part episodes.
That's true.
In case someone tries to fact check. He actually has 2 separate interviews.
Right. So David Fritch, he was on episode 7 and episode 43. And he talked about the Tabernacle of David. And then he talked about supernatural Bible study, how to encounter God through the scriptures, which was really good. Yeah. So the winner of Enthroned is Ashley Tart.
Woohoo!
Congratulations. You got David's book
and some coffee to read it with.
Free Starbucks gift card. So Ashley, again, shoot me an email, matthew@presencepioneers.org, or respond to an email about the podcast that you've been getting, and we will get your address and send you that book and your coffee. So congratulations. All right. Well, I asked people if they wanted to be on the podcast to leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. We didn't get a lot of reviews.
Nobody wants to be on this podcast.
But we got a few over the years. And so I'm going to read them. So let's see. Kale Bill wrote, "It's always awesome to hear people being obedient to the Lord." Oh, this is kind of weird to read because it's about myself. Sure.
All right. "It's always awesome to hear people being obedient to the Lord. Matthew is a great example of this, and hearing the things the Lord is doing through him and the ministry drives me to want more of the Father. If you're hungry for something, seek out people who already have what you're looking for." That's good. "Thank you, Lord, for being so real to Matthew that he can't help but share you."
That was good. Thank you for reading that for me.
Sure. I used my teacher voice.
Sounded great. All right. OMG, it's Derek. Gotta love the usernames. "I've really enjoyed it since I started listening a couple months back. Really stirs the heart for prayer." That's awesome. That's what we want. We want to stir hunger. We want people to want to pray more. We don't want you to just listen to the podcast. We want you to listen to the podcast so that you'll go interact with God and worship him and pray to him. So, this is a good one by Worship Like Jesus. It says, "It's been so awesome to host the podcasts." Oh, wait, this is me. "It's exactly the teaching, insights, and wisdom that I wish I had 15 years ago when I was dreaming about launching a 24/7 house of prayer in my city." This is true. And I did want to read it because honestly, this podcast is exactly what I would have wanted. Right. I mean, that's kind of my whole philosophy in this is, God's presence changed my life. I wanted to have other people experience God's presence. How can I help them do that? 15 plus years ago, I was trying to host gatherings and events and call my city to prayer, and there was very little resource. So.
It's a pretty classic pioneer image to be head forward with one hand back, to help pull people behind you so that they don't have to push through what you push through. So I think that's a great use of all of your research.
Yeah. All right, last one here. Manuel Rodriguez. Manuel, you are very
Manuel
faithful.
the Minstrel.
Manuel the Minstrel, yes.
Okay.
We love you, man, and appreciate your faithful engagement with our podcast here.
On the Instagram.
Yeah, and on Instagram.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew, for this podcast. God is using this team. I should have let you read it.
Okay. "I've enjoyed the people you get on the podcast. Keep your faith hot after God. Thank you once again." Manuel the Minstrel.
Manuel.
He is always on Instagram.
Yes. And now you're on the podcast.
Woohoo!
So, awesome. Wanted to just take a few minutes and share kind of what's brewing for the future for the podcast. We've got some cool stuff stirring for going into the new year for 2021. If you haven't heard yet, we joined the Charisma Podcast Network, which is a big deal. Really cool.
Yeah.
Charisma Magazine is connected to millions of charismatic believers all over the world, and they have a podcast network, and we've joined, and really the goal is just to increase the platform and expand the audience, not just so that we're more popular, but to help more people, to serve more people, equip more people, and hopefully to expose some people to the idea of day and night prayer and worship, the ideas of Tabernacle of David, to take these messages that these people, like they've written these books that we're giving away, these people and the revelation God's given me, and just get it out there in front of more people.
It makes it easier for someone to just be a little bit curious and get all of the information instead of having to really dig deep like you've had to do.
Yeah. And so we're so excited and thankful that Charisma reached out to us to want us to be a part of their podcast network. Shout out to Joshua Buchanan at Charisma, an old friend who's helping us out there. And so we're excited to move forward with them. And it's also, we're going to get some exposure through their digital magazine. We're going to be able to provide some articles for their website. We actually already have the first article up on the Charisma website connected to our podcast episodes. So it's really cool and a huge opportunity for us. So we're going to keep plugging along. I think that God's going to keep taking us further and further. So we had to invest in that partnership with Charisma, but I think it was worth it to reach more people. So I wanted to share a quick testimony before we give away the next book. We're going to give away David Sliker's book, The Nation's Rage. Before we get into that, though, just a quick testimony. When I was in Washington, D.C. about a month ago, had a guy come up to me who leads a missions base down in Georgia, and he just said, "Matthew, thank you for producing all the content that you're producing online. Thank you for your blogs and your podcast and all that kind of thing, your teachings on your website." He said, "We've just launched a house of prayer this year at our missions base, and the team that's here leading this house of prayer, they're just digging into your resources and teachings, and then they're also sharing those with others, but they're not necessarily sharing your teachings, but they're taking the revelation and the ideas and the wisdom and those kinds of things, and then they're passing those on to other people who don't know who you are." And so the point was, his encouragement to me was, you're reaching people, and those things that you're passing on to them, they're passing on to more people, even if those secondary people don't know you and don't know Presence Pioneers and don't know Matthew Lilly, which is fine.
Right.
But the ideas and the truths and the revelation that God's releasing is getting out there and spreading far beyond what we could. So that was encouraging.
Yeah.
And so, I was encouraged by that. That I think that even we can look at the metrics and say, hey, the podcast is reaching a lot of people, but I think it's also impacting people that we don't even know, and we'll never know. So, all right. The Nation's Rage. David Sliker, awesome episode 46, an intense episode.
Yeah.
We talked about, are things getting better or are things getting worse? And why does it matter that we get that answer that question right? So, The Nation's Rage, Prayer Promise and Power in an Anti-Christian Age. You want to share who the winner of this book is?
All right. The winner of the David Sliker book is Tammy Brown.
Tammy Brown, Mama Brown. Congratulations. You won the David Sliker book and
some coffee to read it with.
Some Starbucks coffee. So Tammy, just shoot me an email. I know that you have my email address. I've gotten emails from you before. So shoot me an email, and we would love to send you your free book and your Starbucks gift card. Thank you for being subscribed to the podcast via email. All right. A couple other things for the future before we give away our last two books, and that'll be it. For 2021, we're going to try some new stuff.
All right.
You excited?
So excited.
So we've basically just been kind of throwing out random episodes from week to week, depending on
when people could be interviewed.
Exactly. And when I could get a teaching recorded and that kind of thing. So we're going to try to have some intentional rhythms from week to week in 2021. So we release episodes on Thursday, but we're going to try to have first, second, third, fourth Thursdays have different themes for each Thursday. So that there's just some regular rhythm and greater focus. So first Thursday, I'm going to release a teaching, Bible teaching. The second Thursday, you came up with the phrase for this, which I thought was great, Pioneer Profile. So I was going to call it something else. I forgot what it was, but
not as good as Pioneer
Profile.
Not
as good, but you had the idea, Pioneer Profile. So this is an interview, but we're really going to focus in on somebody that's a presence pioneer.
Right.
That is a leader that's had a pioneering journey that we can glean from their experience and really focus on their story, their ministry, and learn from them.
That's the kind of stuff that really encourages people who are at the beginning of that journey, I find.
Yeah, it's so good. And so week 3 is going to be a prayer movement update. So that could be a conversation with somebody, something that's happening in the prayer movement, or it could just be me sharing my perspective on stuff that's happening in the prayer movement, especially in the USA.
Kind of like a news talk show.
Yeah, almost kind of
like a Stephen Colbert for the worship movement type of.
Exactly. I need to work on my comedy though.
Right.
And then week 4, the fourth Thursdays of the month are going to be interviews, but they're going to be themed. So they're going to be around a particular biblical topic or idea. And so we're going to bring a guest in that has some specialty and expertise in that topic, not necessarily to talk about their story as much as to just dive in deep with them
that specific topic.
around a specific biblical topic.
That means we could re-interview some of the guests.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
So that's going to be our rhythms. I don't know, Fifth Thursdays, we're going to have to come up with something fun. So
that'll be B.
So that'll be we're going to try it. We'll see how it goes. Let us know what you think.
We could totally do like a prayer missionary wife once every fifth Thursday.
Prayer missionary wife.
I'll interview a wife in the prayer movement.
That could be fun.
Because they all have a whole lot of kids, right?
There you go.
So that'll be fun.
Awesome. So that's what you can look forward to in 2021. Really excited about that. We've got some amazing people on our list to interview. Mm-hmm. I've got tons of teaching that I want to bring in 2021 as well.
Got a lot of stuff built up too.
I know.
Got to get out.
All right. So I'm going to rearrange our order here. I'm going to give away one more book. We've got 2 more left to give. This is Unceasing by Billy Humphrey.
That's good.
An introduction to night and day prayer.
Billy Humphrey episode was great. He was really excited.
Gotta love Billy Humphrey. Episode 29. Talked about church prayer and missions.
All right. So who's got it? You want me to do it?
Yeah.
All right. The winner of Billy Humphrey Unceasing is Crystal Pritchard.
Yay. Congratulations, Crystal. Get Unceasing book and some coffee. Again, shoot me an email, Matthew@presencepioneers.org.
We know her hubby, right?
And we can get you the book. Yes, we do.
He's done Presence Pioneering stuff with you back in the day.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
It's fun to have our friends tuning in to the podcast. All right, one more thing before we give away our last book. We are going to launch an end-of-year funding campaign for our ministry, Presence Pioneers.
Woohoo!
We did this last year, # Fund Prayer, and it was really helpful. Actually, that campaign really helped us boost the podcast this year. I mean, we upgraded some audio equipment, computers, microphones, lights, those kinds of things. We're able to get Johan serving and getting the weekly episodes out now that we've got a team working together. We mentioned it earlier, but the podcast doesn't make us money.
Right.
It costs money for the ministry. Right. So some people think, have this idea that if you start a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast, that all of a sudden you're making tons of money.
No.
That's not the way it works. But
unless someone wants to start putting commercials in.
There we go. That's what I was going to say. Some people can do ads. We've never done any ads or anything like that. So there's cost involved with the podcast, but more than that, Presence Pioneers is not just a podcast. It's actually our ministry with the mission to connect, equip, and plant worship and prayer community. So the podcast is one part of the equip arm of Presence Pioneers, but we're also connecting leaders. We are partnered with Awaken the Dawn for the leadership network that's all over America. We're doing other equipping things, teachings, hopefully writing a book in 2021.
Don't say hopefully. Matthew's writing a book in 2020. So 2021. He'll finish it before 2020.
In 2021. And then launching Houses of Prayer, which have done a few times and will continue to do over the years. And so anyway, would love for you guys to give and to sow if you feel led. You can go to fundprayer.com. FUND, fundprayer.com.
Not funprayer.com.
Not funprayer.com. Although prayer is fun, he makes us joyful in the house of prayer. So, fundprayer.com. If you'd like to give, especially here at the end of the year, to help us launch strong in 2021, keep the podcast going, we really appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, final giveaway. Here we are.
All right.
The Joseph Journey by R.A. Martinez.
That was a good episode too.
Fantastic episode. I got a lot of great feedback from that episode. Episode 35. I just remember I got a lot of notes back. It was really helpful for everybody, probably because it was called What Every Pioneer Needs to Know. So of course, the Presence Pioneers want to know what we need to know.
Right.
And that was the title of the episode. It's the subtitle of his book here. And this is really good, what I've read of it. So who's going to get the Joseph Journey?
Let's see. The Joseph Journey, What Every Pioneer Needs to Know, is going to Brandon McKenzie.
Brandon, congratulations.
So you get the book, which is great, and a $10 Starbucks card.
$10 Starbucks gift card. Congratulations to all of our winners
Woo!
today. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the books get some coffee. Again, shoot me an email, matthew@presencepioneers.org, to redeem your prizes, and we will mail it off to you before Christmas.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, everyone, again, subscribe, share the episodes.
Read the blog.
Read the blogs, read the descriptions.
I type those.
Thumbs up on YouTube.
Please.
Smash the like button, right? Leave a comment.
For the YouTube algorithm.
For the YouTube algorithm. Leave us a review on iTunes. Share on social media. All that good stuff is very helpful.
Send us some ideas for Fifth Thursdays.
Send us some ideas. Shoot me an email. Everyone has my email address now.
Right.
Send us some emails.
Say your email address again.
Matthew@presencepioneers.org. Send us an Instagram message.
Yep.
We'll respond. We will, promise.
Yes.
So don't forget, God's presence changes